Representative Allen, do you have anything, or are you just here observing?
I'm going to be observing.
Thank you, and I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Representative Ortega?
I'll go ahead and make a few comments. I'm certain. Okay, Lena Ortega, State Representative for District 77. I'm not prepared to make a lot of comments because I didn't know that non-members of the committee would actually be allowed to testify at this stage of the proceeding, but I feel compelled to do so because what occurred when that map was released took me by quite a bit of surprise. I would not have ever expected, in terms of what was being done to 2 minority women in El Paso County. I think we are all well aware that the State House, and that was the thing that when I first started serving as a freshman rep, that we were so few in number, and that's including Democrats and Republicans alike. And that number has not really increased. It's gone up a little, and then it's gone back down. We are 25% of the body, when in the state population, we are over 50%. And obviously, I come from a majority-minority community, and pairing 2 Latinas against each other when we all know that there was an undercount in our community is something, again, going back to what I said earlier, I clearly did not expect. So I have to share that I do believe it's unconstitutional, and that's why I hesitate even coming up, because I think that there's been a record made of it throughout the day, and I know that many people have commented about the fact that there was inability to actually prepare an adequate record because the map was released on Thursday, and we were being told this morning and given, people had to virtually sign up by Sunday morning. So it's something that people had no real ability to adequately prepare for testimony today. And obviously we know that the state of Texas for many years has, when it comes to redistricting, has violated the constitutional rights of residents of the state of Texas. But to see what is going on with our community, I think is a travesty, and there's a lot of injustice in terms of what's going on. I do know that Chairman Anchia is the one that is going to be submitting an amendment for El Paso County, and I would ask you all to please support it. Thank you.
Any comments, members?
Just a question for my desk mate.
Chairman Anchia?
Yep. So you talked about the elected officials in the community. I wanted to ask you about the voters, and you had some constituents testify today from both Representative Ortega's district, Ordaz's district, and Representative and your district. Can you talk a little bit about where the district that you represent is situated, what the characteristics of the voters are, and how that is changed in the proposed map?
I probably represent one of the poorest districts in the state, as well as in the United States as a whole, because my district encompasses the downtown and the south side, right by the border, and so does Representative Ordaz Perez. So in terms of representation, they are cutting back the representation of that area, and they're basically going against community of interest, the way the maps were drawn, bringing in District 74 far into El Paso. And I know that other people have testified about the fact on how it's going to affect our community as a whole because of Fort Bliss and because of the airport. And from what I understand, Region 19 is also getting representation outside of El Paso by someone that potentially lives hundreds of miles away. So it's, again, going back to the fact that my community of interest is not going to have representation to the extent that it could when they're pairing 2 Latinas to run against each other.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman Turner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative, thank you for coming tonight. You mentioned something in your comments that actually has not had enough discussion today, and that is the undercount in the 2020 census. And, you know, it's I think, well established by experts that Texas, suffered a significant undercount in 2020. And unfortunately, the state has only itself to blame because Texas did not invest anything in a complete count effort, unlike other states. I think California spent, $180 million doing a complete count effort to encourage their citizens to participate in the census, knowing that that would maximize their representation at the federal level and maximize federal dollars. Texas, unfortunately, did no similar effort. We spent $0. But my understanding with the situation in El Paso is you currently have 5 House districts fully contained within El Paso County. Is that right?
That is correct. And if we went to the full count of the 194,000 plus, it would be about 4.5. If we do the deviation, 5% deviation, it would be about 4.7. And the idea that they're bringing in another member who is far away from El Paso and taking over a significant part of the city when that was not necessary, where they could easily have gone across the El Paso County line and permitted for us not to be underrepresented and to keep 5 members is something, again, kind of gave me a great shock when I saw the map. But going back to your initial question with regard to the undercount, since I live in District 77, I have a lot of contact with people that live right there by the border in South El Paso, and I know that people were afraid to actually be counted by the census. I mean, I made an effort to go out there when the census count was being done to try. I went to every organization that I could. There was also the problem because of the pandemic. It wasn't like you could reach out as much as you wanted to. So the timing with regard to getting to maximize and to have people really counted wasn't taking place. So we know that there is an undercount in El Paso, and that should have been taken into account when the map was being drawn.
Right. And I've heard from other members representing the border region, really from El Paso all the way to Brownsville, that they believe that the census, the undercount in the census, while it was a problem everywhere in Texas, again, because we had no complete count effort, was particularly pronounced in border regions. And I wonder, to your point about at the low end of deviation that you would be entitled to 4.7 seats, I think that translates to roughly 57,000 residents shy of the full 5 seats. 57,283, Mr. Moody tells me. Is it possible, had we had a complete count effort, that El Paso would not be in this situation today and you'd be looking at 5 full districts within El Paso County?
Chairman Turner, I completely agree with that because I believe we have the people living in our community that were undercounted. And again, what you said there, I mean, we were missing 57,000. Doesn't take much to expand and go outside of the county in order to pick up that 57,000, and that's what we ought to be doing. I mean, if it's not done, I mean, it just shows basically systemic racism that's taking place when we have a majority-minority community.
Well, and to your point, the districts, the communities that are most impacted by this undercount are the border communities and heavily minority communities from El Paso to Brownsville, and that affects representation, it affects funding, and it's shameful that the state hasn't done a better job with this.
And one other thing, and I don't know if this was mentioned, I mean, I've tried to keep up with all the testimony that took place today, but there are a lot of people that are Spanish speakers. And some of them, for that reason, we have a lot of people that cannot get online in order to have the opportunity to have signed up. I mean, we've dealt with those issues on a constant basis, even when it comes to with the ISDs and the schooling that was taking place during the pandemic, where I had residents in my district talking to me about the fact that they couldn't get their kids signed up for school because they didn't have a computer, or that they had very little access to internet. So that, again, that goes to show you a lot of the focus with the census was let's do it online. And we didn't have the monies to go out there and knock on doors as we could have if that had not been a problem.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, I urge you all to vote for the amendment.
Any other questions? Thank you all. Thanks. Representative Beckley?